on how much they weigh. So Otter here, he's probably getting about 18 pounds of food each day. He's a male, he's our largest animal, and he's roughly around 75 pounds. So they eat about 25% of their body weight.
So stop and think whether you would be able to eat 25% of your body weight every single day. Not possible for a human, but essential for a sea otter. All of that food actually keeps them warm in the cold water where they live, doesn't it, Caroline?
Yeah, it acts like a dry suit. So if any of you guys are divers over there, scuba divers, you usually wear a wetsuit. A lot of our scuba divers that you see in our exhibits, they're wearing dry suits, and the sea otter fur is kind of acting like a dry suit. It keeps them completely warm and dry. So even though the sea otter's fur is a little bit wet on the outside, their skin is completely dry. And that's the same with the dry suit diver. They're actually wearing clothes underneath their suit, and so they can stay nice and warm. So it's pretty amazing. Their fur keeps them, it's like waterproof.
It is, it's totally, even though they spend pretty much their whole entire life in the water, their skin never ever gets wet. As you can see, they eat in the water, they also sleep in the water, they also give birth in the water. If you were here when I introduced CQ, she's the smallest member of our sea otter family here, the one with the darkest face over towards the left. She was born in the water in this exhibit right here, January of last year. And their fur does an amazing job of keeping them warm, as Caroline was saying. It's actually the densest fur on the planet. There is no animal that has thicker fur than a sea otter. And I do have an example of a sea otter.
It's amazing the way they
here. So when you're done watching the feeding, you can get a chance to come over and actually experience it. It's something really special. And in addition to that fur, actually the food that they're eating is keeping them warm as well. It's basically fuel to their metabolism. They have a little furnace going on inside, I like to think of it. And their internal body temperature is actually higher than ours, isn't it, Caroline?
Yeah, it's roughly around 100 degrees. So a human body temperature is about 98.6. That's an average human temperature. With sea otters, they're 100 degrees, even though they live in this cold environment all the time. So it's really, really important because water, actually, if we were to fall in the water, the heat from our body is pretty much taken away almost immediately. Well, this is saying if a sea otter is, maybe the fur is compromised, they would also get cold really fast as well. So it's amazing how warm they can stay even though they're living in this water all the time. So that food and their fur is extremely important for a sea otter.
This is definitely an animal that needs to have clean water. Something like an oil spill that dirties their fur makes them unable to survive in those cold waters. So if you think these otters are adorable and fun and wonderful, and you want to make sure that we have sea otters in the ocean, anything that you do to keep the ground clean where you live actually keeps the ocean clean. All drains lead to the ocean, so if you make sure your car isn't leaking any oil, if you get it checked up regularly, if you wash your car at a car wash instead of washing it right on the street, all of that is going to keep the habitat of these otters clean. And Caroline, we've mentioned a few times that they live in really cold water, but where do they live in the wild?
In the wild, they live really close to the shoreline, so the Pacific near-shore areas, so they're foraging on the intertidal animals that you see in the touch pools, and maybe some of you have touched some sea urchins or cucumbers. Sea otters actually eat those animals as well. They not only eat clams and squid, things like that, but they're eating a lot of the shellfish, so maybe mussels that are attached to the rocks, or abalone. That's another favorite for them. So they're not going after real fast-paced fish, so like those fast-moving salmon. Sea otters probably wouldn't go after a salmon. They're going after more of a maybe flatfish. They're a little bit slower than
that. They're going to conserve their energy since they are eating a quarter of their body weight every day. They don't want to spend too much energy actually chasing down their food, so they will dive down and pick up as many of those shellfish or other tasty animals as they can.
Did you get a picture?
And they can stick it into their armpit pockets as they're diving, and if they don't want to dive down for each animal that they have to eat, that would be a waste of energy. So you might notice they have some really flabby skin. They can stretch it all around, and including, you'll even see our otters sometimes stuff some extra tasty treats into the flaps of skin in their armpits so they can save that for later. And it also makes it really easy to groom their fur, which is probably what we're going to be seeing now that the feeding has wrapped up. So
I know, they eat fast. And actually, Audrey and I are going to go up and feed Commander, which is